Hello, good afternoon. We are here to discuss fundamentals of accounting, which is the first part of my lecture regarding the basics of accounting. And this is our introduction. This video was presented for the benefit of the following. Number one, I want to benefit the entrepreneurs who want to learn about accounting, because an entrepreneur or those beginning to put up their own businesses must know the basics of accounting for them to monitor the day-to-day business operations. Number two, this lecture was intended for the beginners in accounting, whether accountants or non-accountants, because the coverage of this lecture would enable the viewer to grasp the basics, theory and concepts, as well as applications of the basic accounting. And number three, this lecture is also intended for those students who want to pursue a career in accountancy, because I believe that every accountancy student must have a strong foundation in accounting for them to survive in higher accounting and other related subjects. So we have also three learning objectives regarding this lecture. The first objective is for the viewers and students to know the theory and concepts behind accounting. Number two, I want everybody to understand why we need accounting, because accounting is not limited to profit-oriented organizations. Accounting is also applicable to everything, whether your organization is profit-oriented or non-stock, non-profit foundations. And number three, I want the viewers to comprehend the usefulness of accounting in making business decisions. Accounting is not limited to recording and preparing financial statements. Actually, it is a tool in every decision making. So let's proceed to our discussion. So let's define accounting. If you will read a lot of books in accounting, there were so many definitions. We have dozens of definitions. But I just pick up the most common definition being discussed today, not only in business, but also in the academia. So the first one, this is the old definition of accounting, promulgated by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants several decades ago. So here is the definition, the old definition. Accounting is the art of recording, classifying, and summarizing in a significant manner and in terms of money, transactions, and events which are in part at least of financial character and interpreting the results thereof. So let's explain in detail the deeper meaning of this definition. So according to this definition, they regarded accounting as an art. Everybody knows what do you mean by art. So when you say art, it depends on the beholder. There is a common saying, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. When you say art in accounting, it's up to you on what to do in your recording of transactions, as long as it will not violate any law or any moral standards. So it is more of an art. That is the old definition. In the same definition, it is the recording. When you say recording, you will jot down every detail of your transactions. Later on, we will study the process of recording in accounting, and that is being recorded in a document called journal. And then in this definition, it was mentioned the word classifying. The recorded transactions will then be classified in accordance with the account title. Those account title will be discussed in detail in our succeeding lectures. Also in this definition, it is emphasized the word summarizing. After you have recorded transactions, after you have classified transactions in accordance with its nature, you have to do a summary. And that summary is in the form of a financial report, which will also be discussed in our succeeding lectures. So in terms of money, the recorded, classified, and summarized transactions are in terms of money. Because you are preparing a report, you are preparing a report of financial transactions. If that is the case, your report must express in terms of money. Transactions meaning all these recording, classifying, and summarizing came from transactions and events, and after that, these are subject to interpretation. So, accounting is not limited to recording, classifying, and summarizing, reporting transactions. After that, you have to do some interpretation. As I have said, accounting is also a tool in decision making. So this is the new definition. Accounting is the process of communicating financial information about a business entity to users such as shareholders and managers. Take note of this definition. Take note of the first sentence. This definition regarded accounting as a process of communication, meaning it is more than an art. It is more of communication. Let's continue. The communication is generally in the form of financial statements. The financial statements is the summary of the financial reports of the financial data that show in money terms the economic resources under the control of management. The art lies in selecting the information that is relevant to the user and is reliable. So let me explain the highlighted area. So it is a process of communicating or communication. When there is a communication, there is the one who is relating the message, and there is another one who is receiving the message. Communication is a two-way process. When you communicate, you must understand each other. So, in accounting, the process of communication must be understood by the receiver of the information. So, that is the new definition. The new definition regarded accounting not only as an art, but also a process of communication. What is being communicated is the financial information. The financial information is the results of recording, classifying, and summarizing. And that financial information are all summarized in a financial report to be communicated to the receiver of the message, and there will be a mutual understanding between the one sending the message and the other one receiving the message. So the financial information is all about a business entity. It is about the organization. This financial information pertains to a business organization. And this financial information that pertains to a business organization will be used by the shareholders. What do you mean by shareholders? They are the owners of the company or organization. They are the persons who is the number one users of financial information. And aside from the shareholders, the financial information are being used by the managers. Who are the managers? They are the ones running the business. So without this financial information, the business managers cannot run the business. So it is very clear here in the first sentence that accounting is a communication. What is being communicated are financial information about the organization or about the business entity. To whom will this be communicated? To the owners of the company, so that they may know what is happening in the business, and to the managers who are running the business, because they cannot run the business without this financial information provided by accounting. So here, very gradually we can see the significance of accounting. It is more than an art. It is more of a communication. So the communication is generally in the form of financial statements. That financial statements is the summary of financial information. It is the end product of accounting. What is being shown in financial statements are money terms in the form of currency existing in every country. And what is being emphasized here, aside from the money terms, are the economic resources, otherwise known as the assets of the organization or the company. And this information must be relevant to the user and is reliable. When you say relevant, it is when you say relevant to the user will become interested in that financial information because it has something to do with the objective or purpose or intention of that user, why he or she is reading the financial statements. That is the meaning of relevant and reliable. Reliable means you trust the figures indicated therein. Reliable means there is truthfulness in all those data reflected in the financial statements. That is why in accounting, the principle of accuracy is to be exercised to make the report reliable in the eyes of the users. So this definition was taken from the book written by Barry Elliott and Jamie Elliott entitled Financial Accounting and Reporting, published by Prentice Hall in London, England. So that is the second definition. So let's discuss why everybody needs accounting. Accounting is not limited to business. All people in all walks of life, without knowing it, need accounting. So these are the reasons. So number one, accounting is not limited to profit-oriented entities, but also to non-stock, non-profit organizations and foundation, churches, and government agencies. Because accounting records all money transactions. If you are running a non-stock, non-profit corporation, even though it is not a profit-oriented organization, you need to know how the money is being spent. You need to know how the money is being controlled. And the same is true with churches and any kind of government agencies. So that is the reason why this organization needs accounting, even though it is not a profit-oriented entity. That is the number one. Next, we need to know where our funds came from and how it was spent. It is only logical. If you are running an organization, you need to know where this money are coming from. And of course, the most critical of it is to know how it was spent. It should be spent in accordance with the purpose. Number 3, we need to know if our business is earning profit or incurring losses. Number 3 is mostly applicable to profit-oriented organizations. If you are running a profit-oriented business, you need accounting because you know where your company is going to. You must know if the objective of earning profit is being attained. You must know if the company is incurring losses so that you can do some remedy to avoid losses in the future. Number 4, accounting tells us the amount of resources in our possession, our liabilities, and investments. If you will take a look at the financial statements or financial report, you can see the size of your business by just looking at the total resources or the total assets. You can even see how much is our legal obligation or our total indebtedness. You can even see how much is the updated amount of our investment in that particular company. Accounting would provide tools in budgeting, financial planning, forecasting, and strategic management. All those transactions recorded in the previous years are considered history of the company. And most of the time, we decide based in the past events. Our decision in forecasting and budgeting as well as financial planning will be based on the previous data that we gathered. So that is the essence of accounting when it comes to strategic and financial management. Now, let's discuss how to understand the principles of accounting. There are some principles to be followed. so that everybody will do the same thing. Number 1, accounting is not simply recording of transactions. We have to ensure correctness and accuracy of recorded data. As I have said, as we have discussed a while ago, we need a reliable financial data. A financial data will only be reliable if we are sure that it is correct and accurate. That is why it is one of the principles that we have to be followed in accounting: accuracy and correctness of recorded data. We can ensure correctness and accuracy by practicing the double entry system or the debit-credit principle and the accounting equation itself. The debit-credit principle was designed to ensure that everything was balanced, therefore everything is correct. And that debit-credit principle is based on the accounting equation itself. In the succeeding slide, we will discuss accounting equation, and we will also discuss the debit-credit principle in our future lectures. Accounting focuses on balancing procedures to ensure correctness of recorded data and transactions. That is why the accounting equation itself should be balanced. The left side should be balanced, or should be the same with the right side. That is the essence of equation, equality. And that is applicable to accounting. Accounting focuses on balancing procedures. Everything must be balanced. That is to ensure correctness and reliability of recorded data and transactions. Misbalanced figures is an indication of error. So it is easy for us to determine if there is something wrong with our records, because if our figures are not balanced, if our accounting equation is not balanced, there is something wrong with the transactions that we have recorded. So the misbalanced figure is an indication. It is an indicator that something wrong happened in the recording of transactions. So here is the accounting equation. I urge everybody to learn by heart and understand the accounting equation, because this is the foundation in accounting. If you know the accounting equation, it will not be difficult for you to understand the principles of debit and credit. So here is the accounting equation. Assets equals liabilities plus capital. So when you say assets, we are referring to the properties owned by the business or any organization. These are the properties registered under the name of the company. When you say assets, generally speaking, assets should give benefit to the business. Meaning to say, an asset is a true asset if it is performing. I want to emphasize to everybody that a non-performing asset is actually not an asset. So here, our definition of asset is the property that was owned by the organization that gives full benefits to the organization. What do you mean by full benefits? Meaning, the assets are being utilized to generate revenue, or it is being utilized to achieve the objective of the organization. So, if that assets is not being used to achieve the objectives of the organization or not being used to generate revenue, that asset is a non-performing asset. Next, liabilities. We need to know the liabilities. Liabilities are our legal obligations. Legal obligations meaning to say whether we like it or not, we have to pay our indebtedness, because if we will not pay our indebtedness, we are exposing ourselves to legal obligation or possible loss of reputation. And then capital is the investment of the owner. So, the assets must always be equal to the total liabilities and capital. Anytime, they must be balanced. So, let's have an example. Let's put some peso amount. Supposing your total assets is 10 million pesos. And then, your total liabilities is 4 million pesos. How much is your total capital? Of course, the total capital is 6 million pesos, because the accounting equation is assets equals liabilities plus capital. For all those beginners, whether accountant or non-accountant, please remember the accounting equation. It is very easy to remember and very easy to understand. The left side must always be equal with the right side. So here are some examples of assets, so that as early as today, you must be familiar. You may be familiar what assets are. The first asset in my list is cash. Everybody knows what do we mean by cash. It is our money in our possession. Next, accounts receivable or notes receivable, they are assets. For example, you sold something to your customer and your customer did not pay you. The customer promised to pay in the future, meaning you have some receivables in the future. You will receive cash in the future. Although cash is not yet received, receivables are considered asset. In the same manner, if you lend money, if your business is a lending company or a banking institution, usually you lend money. That money that you lent to the borrower will be received in the future, and that money and that receivable is considered an asset because you expect to receive some money in the future. Remember that all receivables are assets. Number 3, merchandise inventory. If your company is engaged in a merchandising business, meaning to say you buy and sell merchandise, just like the grocery stores or variety stores, you buy and sell merchandise, and the inventory in your possessions, meaning the unsold merchandise at the end of a certain period, is considered your asset. Next, prepaid insurance or unexpired insurance. In business, we cannot avoid insurance, even in our personal life. When you own a car, a vehicle, you need to insure your vehicle for 1 year, because that is a requirement. Aside from being a requirement, in case something happened to your car, somebody will answer for the expenses. So when you paid the insurance policy in the form of insurance premium, that is an asset, and we call that prepaid insurance. Why an asset? Because you expect something in the future if something happens to you or to your asset. Next, land. A piece of land is your property because it is being used, it gives benefit. Also, building was erected in your land, that is an asset. Machineries and equipment, if you are engaged in manufacturing enterprises, the machines and equipment being used in your factory are considered asset. And we have here examples of liabilities. Accounts payable. What do you mean by accounts payable? Take note. All liabilities are payables. The word payable is always affixed in every account title in liability. Compare this to your assets. In assets, you have accounts receivable. In liabilities, you have accounts payable. Example, you purchase something from the supplier. You purchase merchandise or goods. You are engaged in the merchandising business. You purchase merchandise to the supplier. You did not pay the supplier, but instead you made a promise to them that you will pay them in the future. You have now a payable to them, and that is a liability. Notes payable. Supposing you borrowed money from the bank will ask you to sign a promissory note. That is a written promise to pay, and that is a liability. You have salaries payable. Your employees rendered overtime, and the overtime pay is not yet being paid to the employees. Those salaries not yet paid are liabilities on the part of the company, and we call that salaries payable. Next, we have mortgage payable. You borrowed money from the bank, and the bank asked for a collateral or security for your loan. So you submitted your house and lot as collateral to the loan, and that house and lot, which is your property, is mortgaged to the bank, and it is called mortgage payable. Other expenses payable. If you have some expenses not yet paid, for example, you received the electricity billing for today, but payment will be made the next month, that is considered expenses payable, which will be recorded in your books, and that is a liability. Interest payable. If you borrowed money from the bank and the interest is not yet paid, that is to be recorded, and that is a liability. Withholding tax payable. These are the income tax deducted from the salaries of your employees that is supposed to be remitted to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and that is withholding tax payable, meaning we have a payable to the Internal Revenue regulators. Income tax payable, that is the computed income tax of your business. If you have already computed your income tax but it is not yet being remitted to the BIR, that is considered still a liability. And all these liabilities must be supported by legal documents, because all of these are legal obligations. What is the reason why we have to record liabilities? Actually, we cannot escape liabilities. We have to be honest to everybody. We have to be honest with our creditors. So, if we will not monitor our liabilities, if we will not pay on time, we are exposing ourselves to possible reputational and legal risk. We are also exposing ourselves to an additional liability, and that is legal liability. Next. Revenue, cost, and expenses are part of capital. I want everybody to remember this. This is very important because we will use this in our problems and examples. Revenue, cost, and expenses are part of capital. So let's discuss. When the company earned revenue, that should be given to the owner, hence an addition to the capital. If we will compute the accounting equation and your company earned revenue, that amount of revenue should be added to the capital. What is the logic? Because the revenue belongs to the owner of the company. That is why it should be added to the capital. Next. When the company incurred costs or expenses, that should be charged against the owner, hence a deduction in capital. So this is the opposite of revenue. We are talking here of cost and expenses. It is very clear in this principle that any cost or expenses should be a deduction in capital. Please remember this. This means transactions involving revenue, cost, and expenses affect capital as far as the computation of accounting equation is concerned. So, in our succeeding discussion, we will compute for the accounting equation. So, any revenue, cost, and expenses that we may encounter should be added or deducted to the capital. So here are some examples of income or revenue. Sales. If the nature of your business is merchandising, grocery store, variety store, hardware store, or any other store, your sales is a revenue. Next, service income. If your business renders services, example, janitorial services, security services, and other services, your main source of income or revenue is service income or service revenue. Next, interest income. If you lend money to somebody and that client or customer paid you interest, that interest is an income because you lend money. Rent income. If you have a property and you decided that a portion of your property will be rented to other parties, so the money that you receive out of rental for that property is considered rent income. Gain on sale of assets. If you sold some of your assets, it so happened that some of your assets are no longer functioning. You sold the assets and the selling price is greater than the amount of your asset. That is considered gain. Gain on sale of assets. So here are examples of expenses. Salaries expense, that is self-explanatory, the salaries of your employees. Utilities expense, that represent power, light, and water, the amount that you spent in electricity and water. Communication, the amount that you spent for telephone, internet, and other communication expenses. Advertising and promotion. In some instances, you want to introduce or promote your business to the public, you will spend a certain amount of money for advertising and promotion. Next, insurance. You decided to insure your properties being used for business. You paid for insurance expense. Office supplies. It is unavoidable. You have to maintain your office. So you have to purchase bond paper, stapler, and other supplies being used in the office. Repairs and maintenance. Also, this is not avoidable. Every now and then, there were some damages in your assets and equipment. You have to spend for repairs and maintenance. Interest expense. If you borrowed money from the bank, you are asked to pay interest. And the amount that you paid as interest to the bank is called interest expense. Taxes and licenses. You have to pay the government taxes. You have to pay the government for some licenses and registration expenses in relation to your business. Miscellaneous expenses, all those business-related expenses which cannot be classified in the mentioned expenses above. So let's have here our illustrative problem. So this is about Alexa Grace Company. So I asked everybody to please understand this problem. So this is about the accounting equation and the effect of each transaction in the assets, liabilities, and capital. Remember, in solving this problem, we have to identify if an item should be added or deducted from assets, liabilities, or capital. So let's read the problem. Miss Alexa Grace put up a small grocery store under the sole proprietorship form of business, meaning to say Miss Alexa Grace is the sole owner of the property. The following transactions and events took place for the month of April 2020. So let's read the transactions one by one because we have to read them for you, the viewers, to understand each transaction. So on April 2, the first day of business, Miss Alexa Grace formed a sole proprietorship business with 2 million pesos cash as initial capital. The 2 million peso amount of cash is the initial investment of Alexa Grace to her grocery store. Next, on the same day, April 2, Alexa Grace purchased office equipment worth 250,000 pesos for cash. Since Alexa is putting up a grocery store, she needs office equipment. And that office equipment is worth 250,000 pesos and she paid cash for the equipment. She also purchased office furniture and fixtures worth 75,000 for cash. So another group of assets were purchased and Miss Alexa paid cash for 75,000 pesos. Also on April 4, 2020, Alexa Grace purchased store equipment which will be used for the grocery store. The amount is 125,000 pesos and Miss Alexa paid cash. Next, on April 5, 2020, now Alexa is operating the business. She purchased merchandise for cash amounting to 376,000 pesos. This bulk of merchandise are to be offered for sale in the grocery store. Take note, Miss Alexa is engaged in the buying and selling of merchandise. So the merchandise that she purchased of 376,000 is to be sold to the customers under her grocery store and she paid cash in purchasing the merchandise. On April 6, 2020, Alexa Grace purchased again merchandise on account for 176,000 pesos. Take note of the word account, meaning Alexa purchased merchandise. The merchandise were delivered to her, but she did not pay the supplier. The supplier will be paid in the future. So, Alexa Grace created a liability here. Take note. She created a liability by purchasing merchandise on account. The merchandise is not yet paid, but it was delivered to her. Payment will be made in the future. Next. On April 9, 2020, Alexa Grace sold merchandise for cash at a total selling price of 490,000 pesos. She is now selling. So she receives cash for 90,000 pesos, representing the proceeds of the merchandise that was sold in her grocery store. She received cash on April 9, 2020. And on April 10, 2020, Alexa Grace sold merchandise on account at a total selling price of 560,000 pesos. Take note again, on account, meaning Alexa sold merchandise, but the customer did not pay her immediately. The customer made a promise, meaning Alexa has a receivable of 560,000 pesos. I hope you still remember our discussion in the example of assets. Receivable is an asset, meaning Alexa Grace will receive 560,000 pesos in the future, and that is an asset. Let's continue. On April 11, 2020, Alexa Grace paid the amount of 100,000 pesos for the merchandise that were previously purchased on account dated April 6, 2020. Take note of that. If you will go back to our transaction dated April 6, 2020, Alexa Grace purchased merchandise on account, meaning the merchandise are not yet paid. Alexa Grace promised to pay the merchandise in the future. But today, April 11, she paid 100,000 pesos out of the merchandise that she purchased on April 6, 2020. On April 13, 2020, Alexa Grace collected cash of 160,000 pesos on previous sales on account dated April 10, 2020. If you will go back to our transaction April 10, 2020, there was a sales on account, meaning the customer did not pay her. Payment will be collected in the future. And today, Alexa Grace collected 160,000 pesos of that sales on account dated April 10, 2020. Next, on April 16, 2020, the business paid insurance policy of 24,000 pesos that will cover all fixed assets of the company for a 1-year period. So, the assets are insured. And Alexa Grace Company paid 24,000 pesos for the insurance premium of the insurance policy. And that is an asset in accordance with our discussion in the previous slides. On April 17, 2020, Alexa Grace has to pay salaries of her employees amounting to 97,000 pesos. Next, on April 25, 2020, the company paid the following expenses: office supplies 15,000, advertising 65,000, communication 34,000 and utilities expense 13,000. On April 30, 2020, Miss Alexa Grace needs a certain amount of money for her personal use. Take note, this is a personal transaction. Since her company is a single or sole proprietorship company, she can withdraw money from her business because it is a sole proprietorship business. So, at the end of April, she needs money. She decided to get 27,000 pesos from the capital that she invested earlier. So, we have here 3 requirements. Number 1, we are asked to prepare a table showing the effects, meaning increase or decrease of the above transactions applying the accounting equation. So we will now use the accounting equation of assets equals liabilities plus capital, and we will indicate if there is an increase or decrease in asset, liabilities, or capital. Number 2 question. How much is the total assets of Alexa Grace? We will derive the answer in accordance with the table that we will prepare. And number 3, the last requirement, how much is the total liabilities and how much is the total capital? Just like in number 2, number 3 can be answered by preparing the table showing the increase or decrease in assets, liabilities, and capital. So let's prepare the table showing the computations. So we are asked to prepare a table. So here are the headings that I have prepared in order to illustrate the increase or decrease in assets, liabilities, and capital. What is the accounting equation? Assets equals liabilities plus capital. So the total assets must be equal to the total liabilities and capital all the time. All the time. So in this table, if the amount indicated or the amount written is positive, meaning there is no negative sign, it is not enclosed, it is an increase. If the amount or figure is enclosed, it is considered a negative sign. That means it is a decrease. Positive sign means increase. Negative sign means decrease. If the asset has no close parenthesis, it is increase. If the amount has close parenthesis, it is a decrease. So let's take up the transactions one by one. On April 2, 2020, Alexa Grace invested 2 million to her business. What is the effect on the total assets? The effect in the total assets actually is increase because that initial investment is in the form of cash, and cash is an asset. That is why 2 million is considered a positive sign, meaning it is an increase. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect in the total liabilities because there is no indebtedness. It is an initial capital investment. What is the effect in the total capital? 2 million increase in capital because it is an initial investment of the owner. So what can you see? What can you notice in this table? we are following the accounting equation. The total assets here is 2 million pesos, while the total liabilities and capital is also 2 million pesos because we have 0 liabilities. Take note, always follow the accounting equation. Next transaction, April 2, 2020, purchase office equipment worth 250,000 for cash, meaning Alexa Grace Company paid cash of 250,000. So there is a reduction in asset. But they received the office equipment. So what is the effect on the total assets? There is a positive effect of 250,000. It was an increase in asset. Why? Because they received the office equipment worth 250,000. Why is there a negative 250,000? Because they paid cash, and cash is an asset. So there was an increase in asset because they received office equipment. There was a decrease in cash of 250,000 because cash is an asset. So what is the effect in total liabilities? There is no effect. There is no indebtedness. What is the effect in capital? There is no effect. So here you can see the total assets are still 2 million and the total liabilities and capital is still 2 million. They are always equal. Assets equals liabilities plus capital. Next, on April 3, 2020, again, the company purchased office furniture and fixtures worth 75,000 pesos for cash. Just like the transaction on April 2, 2020, there was an increase in asset because the company received office furniture and fixtures, and there was also a decrease in asset because the company paid cash. So here is the effect. Increase of 75,000 pesos because the company received office furniture and fixtures worth 75,000 pesos, and decrease of 75,000 pesos because they paid cash of 75,000 pesos. What is the effect on the total liabilities? There is no effect. In total capital, likewise, there is no effect. So if you will get the total of assets, it is 2 million pesos. If you will get the total of liabilities and capital, is still 2 million pesos. Next, on April 4, 2020, again, the company purchased store equipment for 125,000 cash. Just like in April 2 and April 3, the effect in total assets is dual effect, increase and decrease. So there was an increase of 125,000 pesos because the company received the store equipment, and there was a decrease of 125,000 pesos because the company paid cash. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect. In capital, likewise, there is no effect. Next, on April 5, 2020, this is now the start of business operations. The company purchased merchandise for cash amounting to 376,000. This bulk of merchandise are to be offered for sale in the grocery store. Be careful with this transaction. The company paid cash 376,000, meaning there was a decrease in asset. That is very clear because the company paid cash. It is decrease in cash. Since cash is an asset, it is a decrease in asset. Please remember the item that I discussed a while ago. Cost and expenses are part of capital, as well as revenue. Revenue, cost and expenses are part of capital. Revenue is being added to the capital, while cost and expenses are being deducted from the capital. The logic behind is that the revenue belongs to the owner. That is why any revenue that you receive will be added to the capital. Expenses and costs are to be charged against the owner. That's why every cost and expenses should be deducted from the capital. And the merchandise that we purchase is a cost. It is the cost of the merchandise. Therefore, that should be deducted from the capital. As far as liabilities are concerned, there is no effect because we did not incur any obligations. When it comes to capital, 376,000 should be deducted. So by deducting 376,000 pesos, if you want to check, you can still a balance assets equals liabilities plus capital. So that is the proper treatment. Merchandise that was purchased is a cost and they paid cash. That is why assets was reduced and this should be charged to the owner. That is why capital is reduced also by the same amount. Next, on April 6, 2020, take note of the difference. Purchase merchandise on account for 176,000 pesos. This is the one that I am discussing a while ago. Alexa Grace Company purchased merchandise worth 176,000 from a supplier. The merchandise was delivered to the company, but the supplier was not paid. Payment will be made by Alexa in the future. So in this case, what is the effect in the total assets? Did you pay cash? The answer is no. No cash was paid. Therefore, what is the effect in the total assets? There is no effect. Did you created a liability? Did you created an indebtedness? The answer is yes, because you did not pay the merchandise. You owe the supplier 176,000. That's why there was an increase in liabilities of 176,000. What is the effect in total capital? Remember my discussion a while ago. Cost and expenses should be deducted from the capital. That is why 176,000 pesos should be deducted from the capital. If you have your calculator today, you can calculate whether the total assets, liabilities, and capital are still balanced. In my own computation, it is still balanced. And we can check that at the end of these all transactions. Next, April 9, 2020, the company sold merchandise for cash at a total selling price of 490,000. This is now a revenue. Remember again my discussion. Revenue, cost, and expenses affects capital. Revenue is being added to the capital. Why? Because the revenue belongs to the owner. Cost and expenses are being charged to the capital. It is being deducted because that is to be charged against the owner. So in this case, the company sold merchandise for cash, meaning the company received cash. That is a revenue. So what is the effect on the total assets? The effect is increase of 490,000 because the company receives cash. What is the effect in the total liabilities? It has no effect because you did not created any indebtedness. Remember my discussion a while ago, revenue should be added to the capital because revenue belongs to the owner. So what is the effect in the total capital? That is an addition or increase in the total capital. Again, if you have the calculator today, you can compute if the total assets is still equals with the liabilities and capital. In my own calculation, they are balanced. Next, April 10, 2020. Sold merchandise on account at a total selling price of 560,000 pesos. Try to compare April 10 from April 9. On April 9, the company received cash of 490,000 because they sold merchandise for cash. On April 10, they also sold merchandise but on account, meaning they delivered the merchandise to the customers but the customers did not pay them. The customers made a promise that payment will be made not today but in the future. What is the effect on the total assets? Did you receive cash? The answer is no. But was there an increase in asset? The answer is yes. What is specific asset? You have created a receivable. And that 560,000 is an increase in asset because that is an accounts receivable. So there was an increase in asset. Not cash, but rather receivable. So what is the effect in liabilities? There is no effect in liabilities because you did not create any indebtedness. Remember, revenue should be added to the capital because the revenue belongs to the owner. Therefore, the 560,000 should be added to the total capital. Again, if you have the calculator in you, you can calculate if the total assets are still balanced with the total liabilities and capital. Next. On April 11, 2020, paid the amount of 100,000 for the merchandise that were previously purchased on account dated April 6, 2020. Meaning, our company paid 100,000 pesos. What is that payment for? Remember, April 6, 2020, we purchased merchandise on account, meaning to say we did not pay the supplier, but payment, we made a promise that payment will be made in the future. And that future is today, April 11, 2020. We paid the supplier 100,000 pesos. What is the effect in the total assets? You paid cash. Therefore, your assets should be reduced because cash is an asset. So, what is the effect? Reduction in assets of 100,000 pesos. What is the effect in your total liabilities? Your liabilities are reduced because you paid your liabilities. You lessen your indebtedness. That is why the effect in the total liabilities is a reduction of 100,000 pesos. What is the effect in the total capital? There is no effect. It is not affected. If you have your calculator today, you can compute if your total assets are still equals with the total liabilities and capital. And I believe it is always equal. Next. April 13, 2020. Collected cash of 160,000 pesos on previous sales on account dated April 10, 2020. Can you still remember that April 10, 2020 transaction? We sold merchandise to our customers, but the customers did not pay us. The customer promised to pay in the future, and that future is today, April 13, 2020. That is why we received cash of 160,000 pesos as collection of accounts receivable. What is the effect on the total assets? You receive cash of 160,000 pesos. That means that is an increase in cash. But at the same time, your total assets was reduced by the same amount. Why? Because your receivables are reduced. Take note. There is an increase of 160,000 because you receive cash. And cash is an asset. And that is an increase in asset. At the same time, there was a decrease in asset of the same amount because your receivables are reduced by 160,000 pesos. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect, and there is also no effect in the total capital. So if you have your calculator today, you can compute if the total assets are still balanced with the total liabilities and capital. Next, on April 16, 2020, we paid the insurance policy. And that insurance policy, as I have discussed in our previous slides, is an asset. We call that prepaid insurance. So, what is the effect in the total assets? You paid cash. That is a reduction in asset. But you receive an insurance policy. And that insurance policy is also an asset. Therefore, the effect is you receive 24,000 pesos increase in asset because that is an insurance policy that you receive, which is an asset, and you reduce your asset by 24,000 pesos because you paid cash. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect, and there is also no effect in the total capital. On April 17, 2020, we have to pay our employees of their salaries amounting to 97,000 pesos. You paid cash. What is the effect in the total assets? Your total assets will be reduced by 97,000 pesos because you paid cash. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect. You did not create any indebtedness. Remember my lecture a while ago, my discussion, revenue, cost, and expenses affects capital. Salaries is an expense. Therefore, salaries should be deducted from the capital. What is the effect in the capital? Reduction of 97,000 pesos. So if you have your calculator right now, you can compute if your assets are still balanced with the total liabilities and capital. Next slide. On April 17, 2020, the company paid the following expenses. Office supplies, 15,000. Advertising, 65,000. Communication, 34,000. And utilities, 13,000 pesos. What is the effect in the total assets? We paid cash. We reduced the cash. Therefore, we reduce our total assets. If we will get the total of these four expenses, the total is 127,000 pesos. It was a reduction in total assets. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect because you did not create an indebtedness. What is the effect in the total capital? Reduction by 127,000 pesos because expenses and costs should be deducted from the total capital. Next, on April 30, 2020, the owner of the company needs money for her personal use. This is allowed because this is a single proprietorship business. So, she took 27,000 pesos from the initial capital that she invested. So, she reduced that 2 million pesos that she invested. What is the effect in the total assets? There was a reduction of 27,000 pesos because the owner of the company took cash, 27,000 pesos. What is the effect in the total liabilities? There is no effect. There is no liability. There is no indebtedness and obligation. What is the effect in the total capital? It is a reduction in capital because it is a personal expense of the owner. So if we will get the total of all the amounts that we inputted in this table, the total assets will be 2,323,000 pesos. If we will get the total of the liabilities based on the imputed amount in this table, we will get 76,000 pesos. If we will get the total of your capital based on the amount imputed in this table, we will arrive at 2,247,000 pesos. So in order to check the correctness of this computation, the total liabilities is 76,000 pesos. We will add the total capital of 2,247,000 pesos. We will arrive at the total assets of 2,323,000 pesos. So that is how we prepare this table. So I hope you learned something from this lecture. We will continue our discussion and I will present more problems in the next lecture. I will discuss the basic principles of debit and credit because that will be the basis of the journal entries that we are going to prepare in the process of recording. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. See you again in our next discussion. Thank you very much to everybody and good afternoon.